Hello, welcome to episode 208, and this is an experimental one. We're going to be levitating blocks with raycasting. So we'll have a block. Let's put a block down. Well, let's put a grey wool down, or light grey wool. And we're going to have our carrot on a stick. We'll right click, raycast, hit the block, and then we'll be able to wave the block around and put it down, or right click to drop it. That is the plan. Now, this is not multiplayer friendly. I have only sort of half worked this out to make it work single player, and this would be much better done in a Datapack, and I'm sure there are improvements we can make to this. As I say, it's experimental, so I'm not saying this is how you should do it. I'm just saying this is as far as I've got. Okay, well, we need some scoreboard objectives. We'll call the first one Raycast, and it is going to be, has the player used a carrot on a stick? Done. And I want 3 more. Scoreboard objectives add. I want an X position. Dummy. Done. I'm going to control middle mouse and put that down 2 more times because I want a Y. And you guessed it, I want a Z. Okay, and I'm going to want my magical levitating wand of wonder. Carrot on a stick. Give wand. Give the nearest player carrot on a stick. I'm going to give it a tag, a custom tag, Raycast. True. Done. We're going to be using some invisible things, so I'm going to put a couple of little debug particles so I can see the invisible things. Debug particles. Done. We're going to execute at any entity whose tag equals ray, and we will run particle flame at that location, and we'll keep it small, no speed, 1, and that will default to normal. Done. Nope, not done. Repeat. Control middle mouse. Put another one down. Chain unconditional always active. This time we are going to target the move marker. And let's pick another particle. I like electric. Electric spark, I think it's called. Electric spark. Done. Okay. Next, we want to create the raycast. Let's do that. So this will be the raycast controller. Done. And we have to move the raycast as well. So actually, let's do the moving of the raycast first. Move ray. You are going to be repeat. So we're going to move the ray. We're going to execute as any entity tag equals ray at itself, and we will we'll do a block check. If block at itself is air, then we will run TP itself forwards by 0.3. So that would be quite a slow one. We're going to control middle mouse that, put it down again, and just change it to chain always active, exactly the same command. And I will control middle mouse that, and I'll put 1, 2, 3 more. That'll speed the ray up a little bit. Okay, let's do the raycast controller. One thing you don't want to be doing is NBT checking people very often. You want to do it as little as possible. So we're going to NBT check them once and give them a tag. Let's set this to repeat. So first of all, we're going to execute as all players, and first thing we'll do is check their scores. So we're not even going to NBT check them unless they've got a score of Raycast 1 or higher. So they must have used their special carrot on a stick. If they have used their special carrot on a stick, we will check their selected item. And inside the selected item, we will check the tag. And the tag we're checking is raycast true or raycast 1b. Done. If I clear my inventory, give ourselves the wand, and let's do a data check on that. Data get from entity myself selected item. Yes, we can see inside its tag there, it's got damage and raycast 1b. Raycast 1b, that's our custom tag. Okay. Now, what are we going to do to that person? We are going to tag them with, we'll say they are the Raycaster. So anyone who has just used a carrot on a stick that has the Raycast custom tag will now be tagged themselves with a Raycaster. To get ourselves a command block, and we are going to execute as all players whose tag equals Raycaster and whose tag equals not. So they don't have this tag, is casting. So they're not currently casting at themselves. So that's going to be running at their feet. Let's move that. Let's move that from their feet up a bit, so closer to their head. And we will run summon area effect cloud at that position, so pretty much inside their head. And we want to give it tags. What tag do I want to give it? Well, it is the ray. And I'm going to give it a radius of 0. And a lifetime is duration. How long will it live for? 20 ticks. And we're going to be moving it. So 20 ticks effectively says how far it's going to go, because it's going to keep going forward and it's going to die after 1 second. 20 ticks. Done. And now we need to teleport it so it's facing the same direction as the player. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into this block and we're going to go all the way to this positioned bit and I'm going to copy all of that. Done. So once again, we are executing as the Raycaster. If they're not is casting, at their position, lifted up from their feet to their head, and rotated as that person. So we're changing the rotation to face the same as the player. We will run TP any entity whose tag equals ray, whose a distance equals 0 to 0.5. Where are we going to teleport them to? We're going to teleport them to those coordinates. So we're going to teleport them to we've got 2 spaces there. Let's clear that out. That could have caused a problem. So we're going to teleport them to the XYZ, the pitch, and the yaw. Well, we're setting the XYZ here by saying at the player. So XYZ is at the player's feet. And then we're changing the XYZ to up by 1.5. And then we're changing the pitch and yaw. So now the ray is facing the same direction as us. Done. Put another one down and I'm going to paste that in again. But I'm going to change it a bit. I'm going to take away all of this bit. Execute as any player who is the Raycaster. This time if they are casting. So is casting tag is true. We will run tag remove is casting. How naughty. We will remove is casting from all players. So if the player right clicks the first time, they're not casting. Now if they are casting, we'll say they're not casting. So we've got a kind of little toggle going on there. And we'll add a conditional one. So if they stop casting, we're going to kill. We are going to kill the move marker, which we'll create shortly. Done. Let's put another one down. So, killing the move marker is conditional. Back to unconditional. So we want to be able to detect that light grey wool. So let's do a check for that wool. So execute execute as any entity tag equals ray at itself if the block at ray's location is a light grey wool, then run set block at that location to air replace. So basically, if the ray hits a light grey wool, it's going to get rid of it and the block's going to go. But we need some extra stuff because now the block's gone. So we're going to have to create a new block. So the first thing we're going to do, conditional again. We've hit a block. Now let's say that now the player, let's give them a tag. Now they are casting. Now we add the tag is casting. Okay, let's do another conditional. And we will summon a marker. This is going to be our move marker. Execute at any entity tag equals ray. Run summon a marker at ray's location. We'll give it some tags. The tag we'll give it, it's going to be the move marker. Okay. Done. So the block has disappeared. We are now having the tag is casting and a marker has appeared at the block's location. Now we need to make a fake block. So we will also execute at any entity whose tag equals ray, and we will align this block to the X, Y, and Z because we want it to be perfectly aligned. We don't want it just appearing anywhere. Align it to the X, Y, Z. Run summon a falling block, and we do just want to do 0.5, 0.5. That's going to align it on the X and Y nicely, and I'm just going to lift it off the ground slightly as well, so I'm going to put a 0.1 there. Okay, and let's give it some extra information. Tags. Well, we're going to give it the tag move me. Move me. So this is the block we're going to be moving, the fake one. I don't want it to have gravity, otherwise what it will do is it will just go, hey, I'm right close to the floor, I'm just going to turn back into a block. So we don't want gravity. Give it a time so it lasts for a long time, minus big number. I don't want it to drop its item, and we need to give it a block state. Block state. Let's say this sort of thing is much better done with a Datapack, and its block state is going to be, it's a light grey wool. We're only targeting light grey wool with this. Light grey wool. Okay. And since what have we done? So if we hit the light grey wool, we get rid of it. We say the player is casting. We summon a marker. We summon a fake light grey wool, and we don't need the ray anymore. Kill any entity tag equals ray. Yes, that'll do. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to the conditionals. So make sure if something's not working, you've got all these ones correct. So we've killed the ray. We're at the end. Scoreboard, players, reset for all players. Raycast. Done. Okay, so we set that score back to, well, nothing. It's not 0, it's nothing. It doesn't exist. Tag all players, remove Raycaster. Now no one is the Raycaster. Done. Okay, let's do a little bit of experiment and see what we've got so far. Obviously, make sure we've pressed that. Let's have the debug particles. And so, if we don't hit the block, we're never going to be set to is casting. So we should just be firing our ray off. Yeah, okay, now if we hit the block. Okay, so, and I can see, I just saw inside the particles of our marker. Okay, if I click again, I'm no longer casting, and I can cast again. Okay, but we've got a fake block just here. So that's not very good. Let's kill that. Kill, and since we're pointing at it, we can just get its UUID. There we go. And actually, I wouldn't mind if that block was glowing. That would be nicer. Okay, where did we summon that block? It was about here, wasn't it? There it is. No gravity, true. Let's just put it before no gravity. Let's say glowing true. Yeah, I think that'd be better. Okay, right. Now, we need a way to drop it. So, let's go on to the end here. Execute if entity at entity tag equals move me. So if there is an entity called tag equals move me, and we could put in here as well type equals falling block, unless there is an entity which is a player who is casting. So there is a block called move me and there isn't a player casting. Run data merge into the entity at e tag equals move me. We'll have to limit that. Limit equals 1. Data can only target one thing, so we have to put a limit on that. And we will merge in no gravity true. No gravity false. I don't know why they don't just call that gravity. Okay, we've lost our block. Okay, so I've got it, and I am cast. Do I have the tag is casting? Tag at player remove is casting. So if I right click now, I should lose that tag, and the block falls back to the ground. Okay, that's good. That's good. And we can see, oh, there's the electric spark. We can see our marker is in there. Nice. Okay. Now we want to move it. We want to be waving it around in the air and stuff. So let's make a separate controller for that. So what should we call this? Let's move the ray. We'll call it move block. Okay, right. Now, the ray we are not doing anything with. So we could say something really simple, maybe like execute execute as any player tag equals is casting at that player, run teleport any entity tag equals move me 4 blocks in front of them. Okay, let's try that. Okay, we're not getting anything happening there. Okay, well this is pretty awful. It's very slow and janky. Now the jankiness comes from falling block doesn't update itself very well. So I'm going to force it to update itself a bit better. This is not a good solution either. Well, this what we're doing here is fine, but teleporting the block in front of us is not a good solution, and you'll see why in a minute. So we're going to change that. Let's execute if entity at player is casting. So if a player is casting, We've made lots of mistakes there. So if a player is casting, we will as entity tag equals move me. If a player is casting, we will then run as the entity and we will store the result entity at s air short, that's the number type, -1 run data get entity at s air. This is a weird command. What we're doing now, look how much smoother it is. So the falling block entity doesn't update its position all the time, doesn't update it very often. And by doing this little trick here, by making it turn its air tag on, off, on, off, on, off, it's forcing it to update more often. So we've got a much smoother movement. But, I mean, here's a problem. There's a wall. First problem, I can put it in the ground. Second, I can push it through a wall. These are clearly not a very good idea. So let's drop it. Now, you can see our marker there. That's what the marker's for. So let's get rid of them. What we're going to do instead is we're going to move the marker. So let's get rid of this. And we'll actually keep most of that. Execute as a player who is casting at themselves. We're not going to move the block. We're going to move the marker. Okay. I think we might want to change it slightly. We'll have a look. So now my marker's a bit low. Well, that looks a bit silly. Okay, turn that off. Let's just lift the marker up by 1.5. That'll probably do. So now I've got a marker. Now the marker can go into the floor. We don't care. It's an invisible marker. Okay, we can wave it around. That's pretty nice. Turn it off. Now we want to move the block to the marker. Okay, let's build a controller for that. Move block to marker. So we are now going to be using our xPos, yPos, and zPos. First, we're going to store the positions of the move me. Execute as any entity tag equals move me. So that's the block. Store result as a score on itself. The xPos. What data do we want? Well, run data get from an entity itself. Get your pos from the first position, and we'll times it by 1,000. Done. So we're getting its X position, and we're putting it in a scoreboard. Let's control middle mouse that. Chain always active, and we're just going to switch that to a Y. Switch you to then array slot number 2. I know it says 1. Remember, it starts counting at 0. Control middle mouse that. Get the Z position and store it in Z. Okay, that block, let's turn that off while we're working. Nah, it doesn't matter. That block will now have its X, Y, and Z stored on its scoreboard. We're going to do the same for a marker. Okay, we'll just put that down. Go to the beginning. This time, though, we won't want move me, we want move marker. And you will store your X into 0. Done. And we'll control middle mouse that. Put it down 2 times. And into 1, we will store your Y. Or from 1, we will store your Y. And from 2, we will store your Z. So now the marker's got its position stored. Okay, now we need to work out which direction the block needs to move to get to the marker. And we can do that by performing a little bit of an operation. Oops, let's delete the command that's in there already. Scoreboard, players, operation, and we are going to target the move me entity. Tag equals move me. We want its xPos. So it's currently its xPos is equal to its own x position. But we're going to say equal your own x position minus the x position of the move marker. xPos. So its xPos minus the xPos of the move marker. So if its xPos was 10 and the move marker was 5, we'd be now storing 5 in there. Let's say done. Control middle mouse that. 1, 2. And yep, your yPos minus the yPos. And your zPos minus the zPos. Okay, so we've updated the block's position. Now, we want to take those positions and store them into data storage. So we'll do this one command at a time. I think we could optimize this and put them into an array, but we're just going to do execute store result. Well, we're going to store it in storage. We'll call it data. We'll have a temporary xPos, which will be a double. And we'll put a number here to reduce it a bit. We had 1,000. Not point. No, we'd want 0.001. Run players get run scoreboard players get, and we're going to get it from the scores we just updated. Get from an entity tag equals move me. We can't get it. Because it's data limit equals 1. xPos. Okay, what mistake have we made from here? Scoreboard players run scoreboard players get from, we don't need entity. There we go. Okay, so we're getting the updated x position and putting it into storage. Done. Control middle mouse, one more. Let's put this one into yPos. And we'll go to the end and we'll have yPos. Done. And we'll have another one. I think you definitely know what this is going to be. zPos. And we'll go to zPos. So now all those positions are in storage. And now let's copy those positions to the entity, the block. Let's copy it to its motion. Execute if entity at player tag equals is casting. So we're only going to do this if the player is casting. Run data modify an entity, any entity whose tag equals move me, limit equals 1. We'll put it into their motion slot 0, set from storage. We called the storage data temp.xPos. Done. Control middle mouse, another one down, and we'll take it from motion. We'll put into motion 1 from storage yPos, and we'll put into motion 2 storage zPos. Done. Woof. That was long. But let's see what that actually gets us. Okay, so we are moving, we're moving the electric spark, the move marker, and when we move it, the block is it's checking its positions and it's going, I need to go that way to keep up. So that's what's happening. This is pretty cool. I like it. Now, if we bang it into the ground, the block is just going to say, I've hit the ground. And falling blocks, when they hit the ground, they turn back into blocks. So that's sort of done for us. Can we bang, grab it again, wave it around? Nice. Bang. Okay. Man, we didn't reset. Okay, so if we let go ourselves, we reset. But if we bang it into the ground, we've still got a marker. Okay, we need a way to stop that marker. We need to check if we actually bang it into the ground. Let's put that on the end of the raycast. Let's go to the end of the raycast controller. And here, let's say, execute unless an entity tag equals move me. So if there is an entity with tag equals move me, we're going to do nothing. If there isn't, that sort of means we've banged it on the ground. Kill entity tag equals move marker. Let's get rid of that move marker. And let's copy all of that from the beginning there. Copy. And if there isn't an entity with the move me tag, we'll also have to say that we're not raycasting anymore, are we? So at a remove is casting. We're not raycasting. Okay, let's try that. Done. Hello, little block. Right, we can pick it up. We can wave it round. If we slam it in the ground, I should be able to raycast again. Yeah, raycast the block. Pick it up. Make some stairs. Pop it there. There we go. Right. So it's kind of working, but there's a couple of flaws with it. One we can fix, and one we can't. If we drop this on the side of a block like this, the falling block is going to try and drop down onto down here, and it'll say no, there's a block in the way, and it'll just vanish. And now the player is stuck because they can't build their staircase. So that's one problem. Another problem, we could have it lined up perfectly. Let's drop it here. Nice. Pick it up again. Drop it on the lever. The falling block knows there's a lever there and dies. Now, one way I thought we could stop the first problem is here with the, where's our move block? Okay, so this is actually move marker, isn't it? Let's change that sign. It's always good to have signs that make sense. This is now move marker. What we can do is we can move the marker and we can lock the marker so it's always in a block. It's never half or 3/4. It's always in the center of a block. So if we execute as any entity tag equals move marker at itself, and we will align it to XYZ positioned 0.5, 0.5 right in the center. We will run TP yourself to those coordinates. Done. Now, one thing I don't like about this solution is, it looks all right. It doesn't look as nice as the smooth moving, but you'll now see the block is only moving to valid block chunks. So we can't actually get it half on or half off. So now if we go down, it's going to pick it up. We can go up there. Go down there, or we can just put it up there and drop it with the right click. So that fixes that first problem. And I think it's all right, to be honest. I'm quite happy with that sort of result. Next problem, which I haven't solved yet. Now see, it's sitting in there. If I go down further, oops, went back. If I go down, no, it tries to create it. Minecraft knows there's a lever there already and doesn't. And the other one is if we have it sitting above and we drop it, same thing. So Partial blocks will kill it. Well, we have a system. I suppose in the room that you make this puzzle in, you just don't have any blocks like that. That's my current solution to this experiment problem. I like the fact we can just drag the block around. I'm pleased with that. We can just pop it down there. We can put it anywhere. And the only major problem I'm finding at the moment is that. Cool. Well, I mean, that was a very long one today. Sorry about that, but the raycasting was fun. I was having fun with it, and I thought I'd show you how far I've got. And as I said before, this is definitely not multiplayer friendly. No, no, no. And really, if you're going to do something like this, pop it into a Datapack to start with. And if you can use later version, it's probably better, and I'm sure you can do it, to use a display entity instead of the falling block. But that is as far as I've got at the moment with using my magical carrot on a stick to levitate blocks using a bit of raycasting. So I hope something in the video was useful for you. And if you've got any suggestions on how we can improve it, yes, we can improve it with Datapacks, but can we improve it with just using command blocks? If you have any suggestions, just let me know, and I will see you next time. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.